Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new Let's Play of Europa Universalis IV, Cradle of Civilization. Let's get into the single player. There are some big changes in this mod, specifically around the region over here in the Middle East and whatnot. And for this Let's Play, the first of the two, the second one will either start later today or in 2 days to keep up with the schedule. We're going to be playing as the Mamluks today. I did a personal game for about probably 2 hours. Testing out and seeing if they were any better than they used to be, and I'm not gonna lie, I actually was quite enjoying playing as them, so we're gonna do that as the first Let's Play. First of the two base game ones. Probably gonna get a nice mod in there when we can, but what I do like is the fact they bring up the like a good information stuff. Not that I read it at all. So yeah. Got nice little information about the country, the mechanics of the Sunni religion now that's been changed, which I'm pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. I'm pretty sure I could do a decent explanation without it. The Mamluk governance, different stuff, which is pretty cool, and the environment, which at the moment is actually nothing for us, but shows all the mods we have as well, DLCs we have. So let's close that off. So. The one major thing that's new is the fact that each army has army, army drilling. So you can drill your army up, and they become more efficient in, they become better basically. It's more, they get like a fire and shock bonus and bonuses to dealing shock and receiving. So they get bonuses. They take less damage but deal more. Now there's also army professionalism, which is actually amazing. Something I was this is majority of what I was toying about with in that hour or 2 hours. Oh man, I'm just gonna send this guy to protect trade somewhere. So let's get back to army professionalism. So what this really what was really interesting to me is the way that each tier is actually gives you something to do, or gives you a new mechanic to play with, while also giving you even more less mercenary cost. Actually, I think the more higher you get up, the less mercenaries there are and whatnot. But the more siege ability, fire damage, and shock damage you have, because you're going from a salaried soldiers to regimental mustering to conscription army to a permanent army to a professional army. Something that I intend to fully get, because I prefer standing armies to mercenaries and whatnot. Now, the main part of this, the main way play, if we go to the main campaign goals. The main campaign goals is to not die to the Ottomans. Something I found increasingly easier in this, much easier in this DLC than I have in previous. It's always been possible, not really too big of a deal, I would say, but it's always been a lot of effort and a lot of micro in some areas, or get lucky and have a good start. Like if the Ottomans don't immediately want to destroy these guys and they're trying to focus up here, which they will hopefully do. But yeah, we've also got the content packs. We've got some nice new unit sprites of certain factions around here and around up in the Persian coast, where the Persia's also been redone very well. A lot of new wastelands and wastelands in here, over here, down here. Rebuilt new countries until together. Just everything looks much nicer over here and much cleaner. So first, let's get into the actual game now. So what we're going to do is we're going to hire generals for 2 of our armies, and we're going to immediately start drilling. Now the reason we're going to do that is because we want these guys to have the highest army drill, so they're actually there, because the AI will happily drill, so we need to make sure we're at least countering. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to start picking up vassals. Now the first one is going to be, I think, Ramazan. I think there's a mission for that one. Do I have it? I do not. So we're gonna ignore these guys because there's a mission that will actually be useful to us. I think the first person I kind of want is going to be Medina. These guys, because that means I can get the custodian of the holy city. So that's what we're going to work on. So we're going to immediately offer an alliance. And the first thing we're actually going to do is get rid of these guys, which is the first move I made in my own Let's Play, my own playthrough. I'm going to go straight to 4 speed. There's no reason to be any lower. I'm going to give Cyprus an alliance because we're the protector of Cyprus. Now, we're going to quickly buy our way, as using our great power status, to having the Medinians underneath us, so we can have an extra missionary. One also thing they've added is you can now convert your vassals what's it called? Your vassals' provinces. So you can speed up the conversion of provinces to a degree that is much better, and you can basically just use your power, like missionary power, to convert provinces your vassals can't physically convert. Now, Medina will be under us pretty soon, which is good, and we'll hopefully have these guys in by the end of in a couple of years. And shit. Okay, one army should be able to deal with that. What's this one? So this is our heir. So we have the Mamlukan government. The state was once taken over by Mamluk slave soldiers and sustained itself through continued importance of soldier slaves. So, the Mamluk succession. The death of our king has left the country of our ruler. All the important Mamluk households of Al-Qahira are calling upon their influence to have say in who his successor will be. Depending on who wins, our new ruler will have the support of different households in different parts of the country. Only one thing is certain. Those that would rather have seen their own group's interests prevailing will not greet a new sultan with joy. Some might even spread the rest of their lives trying to limit his influence. So we could have we need the support of the Syrian Mamluks, which means we have a Syrian heir with an average of 59 claim, who's 45. We could have an Egyptian Mamluk heir of use now, which is a 32-year-old with a 48 average claim. Or we can have the best alternative is one who has no ties to the group of Al-Qahira, which is a Cassian, who is 50-year-old, but he has a maxed out tradition. But I'm actually going to go with the Egyptian, and we get a 543. Now, the one thing about this government is we actually get some badass rulers. So we're going to get the documents of sect practices, just make sure we get that lower unrest. Now, the first thing we want to do is deal with this. We did actually lose our king already, which means we need to put our new one there, and go straight back to drilling them, because right now drilling is going to be our main way of showing, being different. The Sheikh ul Islam. So this is I love the little thing. Where the Qaids are the judges of the land, the Mufits are the ones to provide general legal interpretation and doctrine. A sultan as large as ours, however, needs an overreaching authority of all Mufits. Traditionally, this is the role of the Sheikh ul Islam, this guy who's, I'm going to keep saying because I just don't want to say it wrong, will not only offer fatwas himself, he will also be the one to appoint many of the regional mufits in our realm, and ultimately he is the person who will safeguard the legality of the Sultan's edicts. Naturally, the man we pick will belong to the Safi, but there are a number of distinguished candidates to choose from. This is like the foremost and most loyal Mufati to this position. The most learned and steadfast candidate must be named, or a famous Sufi will be the one to go dignity. So these one just gives us national tax, whereas these two give us tolerance of heretics, or tolerance of true faith, or legitimacy. But they also give mysticism in this case, and legalism in this case. Now this is to do with the new piety system. Mysticism is it's technically not bad, but it's the opposite end of the scale. So you get missionary strength, morale of armies, and fort defense. But so this is basically gives you more of a conversion and a decent defensive stuff, whereas legalism gives you more money, more men, and cheaper tech. Legalism is what I try to stick with at the moment, because legalism will keep our country on top, in the sense it will keep us drawing, or at least very close to the rest. So we're going to go with the most learned, and that's going to push us up. And it's also good. So basically our economy is going to be run purely by keeping our legalism maxed and having our early expansion continuous. My first goals of expansion are to go through here to here to here to here, and basically I want this region under full control or full lockdown by the 1500s, with hopefully some strength over here, and an alliance with Tunis will definitely help with that. But right now we need to try and just limit the influence of the Ottomans, and the Ottomans we're gonna rival them immediately. I'm not gonna try and hide away from the Ottomans, because it's not actually wise to do so. They're a pain, and they're gonna be a pain no matter what. So it's best to just take them on head first and expand where you can, and kind of just ignore the Ottomans' growth or anything they're doing until we have a reason to. Until we have something we can do with them. So Medina is now our vassal. So there we go. That gives us... oh yeah, all our guys haven't got anything else. Put you on sieges. Now, Medina gives us the custodian of the holy cities because we have both Medina and Mecca. Well, Medina's over here. Mecca is right there. Eventually, both will be under our control. But at the moment, it's more interesting. It's more useful to have them under our vassals. Now, as you can see, our armies here have actually started to gain some army drill. They're up to 13.32 out of 100. Which means they get, as you can see, land fire damage, shock damage, fire damage received, and shock damage received. So it negates damage and increases their damage. So basically, it's pretty useful. Now what we're going to do is we've already got reason to fight these guys. So we're actually going to move these guys out because these are our two best armies now. Even without generals, these guys' armies will be a little bit better because of the fact they have been drilling. And drilling just increases the effectiveness overall. Now these guys are allied with Hisen Kafia. I don't actually know where they are, so let's have a look. They're allied with these little guys up here. So basically, this is going to be a quick kind of curb stomp, I would say. So we're going to put ourselves immediately into the battlefield, and we're just going to ignore everyone and just get this battle over and done with and move on. Because we want to get Shamar taken out pretty quickly as well. And so once our men are done here, we're actually going to pull them out and move them back to drilling. In this case, you're going to go here and you can start drilling. What's this? Factionalism. The Sultan is far from the only owner of the Mamluks in our Sultanate. The house of the influential manumitted Mamluks often contain great, if not greater, numbers of newly imported slaves from their home regions. These influential emirs are often those with the greatest influence during a succession, but even when the throne is occupied, the influence of the Mamluk household are great on Mamlukan politics. It is up to this person, our king, to ensure that this factionalism does not stifle the politics of Al-Qahira. So we can get factionalism or ruler support faction, which gives us... I'm going to put let's pick sides and support the stronger factions, because right now, having more manpower is actually a lot more effective. We need to keep our manpower constantly in the green. If our manpower ever leaves the green, we're in a bad situation. Or the black, sorry, not the black, not the green. Ever leaves the black, we're in a bad situation. Now I'm going to actually ditch all of my guys there, and we're actually going to go with a constant own subject increase. Okay, nope, you're in the wrong place. There we go. Own subject to increase us to ensure that we have our vassals constantly increased, because currently we have 3. And we're probably going to be rolling for 4 at a time when we can. Now, when you get high enough piety or legalism, you can invite scholars when you meet certain matches. Each scholar gives you different stuff, but right now we're going to be sticking to who we are, because they're currently just the best of what we can do. Our emirs are going to be very painful to look after because they have a very high rate. As you can see, they have 35% of the land. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to do a culling of, well, not a culling, but we're going to do whittle down their numbers, shall we say? And I'm going to go quickly deal with this asshole. So we're going to move over to here because I know where their land is, and we're going to just systematically rip provinces out of their hand that they don't need. So we're going to rip basically these ones here. So they're going to have 2 rebellions. Less than I expected, to be honest. You should get there on the 18th, which means we should be able to stop the fight there. Now, technically what I just did went against my no rebellions, but we got them down to 22%. Now, we have ruined our how much they like us, but that's not a problem, ladies and gentlemen. That is easily sortable. But for now, it's actually better that we lower their influence sooner rather than later. Being in the black, we'll just have to accept that we're not on the moment and try and get ourselves maxed out in legalism. Now, our first annex in 854 will be Fadil, and we'll. I kind of want to have a Dul Qadir and Ramazan as like a border up there. The only problem is Dul Qadir does not want to be my well, for lack of a better word, my bitch. Something that is doable, but also something new. There is a culture and a religion tied to every advisor. Haven't figured out if it actually does anything different or it's just a flavor. Haven't been playing long enough to know that on the current stuff. Let's go back to drilling our men down there. Also, one reason to drill, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys just think it's a little bit weird or useless, is it drives up army professionalism, something you want to drive up because it increases, like I said, overall, like increases like just multiple different things. So it's definitely something you want to do. Like it increases siege ability, leader fire damage, and shock damage. And I'm pretty sure it either decreases or increases the amount of mercenaries you can have. Now we're going to, we're just going to get rid of you. There we go. And then we're going to immediately call. Now, when it comes to getting our first idea, we're going to be going economic and then quality. An idea group that should limit our problems in the future against enemies, like the Ottomans. We should be able to fight on equal terms. Now, these regions are going to be upset, obviously, for a while, which is fine. We'll lose the 20. Yeah, legitimacy is a problem. Legitimacy is a problem if you don't take the. It's always best to take the highest authority, not authority, the highest legitimacy or highest favored heir, purely to stop being in a situation like this. And you will actually lose kings quite often, or sultans. Or at least from my experience, even no matter what their age, they die off quite quickly. So we're going to have quite a few quite a lot of sultans in probably about before we even hit the 1500s. Spread of extreme practices in Aleppo. I'm not going to bother reading this. If you guys would like to read this, please. No, you know what, we'll read it the first time. The late Middle Ages saw the emergence of several new forms of Islamic mysticism. One of the most controversial being a brand of Sufi dervishes known as the Runicationists. These men sought to separate themselves entirely from normal society, shaving all body hair down to their eyebrows, and publicly breaking all the rules of Sharia in order to demonstrate their unique relationship with God. All while wandering from town to town begging for alms. Our religious scholars are calling for their prosecution, arguing that the uneducated populace's tendency to view them with awe will lead them away from the true faith. We'll expel them. That's definitely more in our current targets. Now I'm going to immediately start preparing for a war with Shamar, even though Shamar has currently... no, they didn't have any good allies. Actually, sorry, no. Hormuz is a good ally. The Daswir is not, though. They're easily dealable with. And so is Shamar. These guys are a bit more of a pain, but I'm going to go with easily dealable with as well. Now, one thing the game will show you, if there is of every faith, it will show you the base faith, but it will also show you the school they follow. So, if we come over here, they follow the Shafi school, the Hanafi, then there's the Jafari, the Zidi, I think there's the Ismaili, and there's the Hanbali. I love the flavor this mod has brought, because it gives so many different options, which is always good. And I'm pretty sure the Golden Horde was renamed the Grey Horde recently, or maybe it might have been the last patch, but I don't think I paid enough attention. They'll always be the Golden Horde to me, because of since EU3 they've been the Golden Horde, so I'm not going to go and refer them to them as a new name unless it drills into my skull. So, but yeah, these guys are going to core pretty quickly, and then luckily they're our religion, but we are going to start facing provinces that are not our religion. Which means we're going to start needing to hire people to be able to change that. And something that I was actually talking about quite a lot in the other campaigns is the ability to pull manpower from nowhere, or pull manpower from your provinces with a bit of a issue. And they've actually added that. I'm not going to say it strictly because of me, because I doubt that, but mostly because it's not in the same way as I said. But slacken recruitment standards, and you'll gain a proportion of your manpower, but you will lower professionalism by 5%. That's a very harsh goal, harsh payoff, but in war, I guess it's very, very, very doable. If you really do want to kind of not die, or you want to sustain a war to a point where it's... shite. Yeah, the Ottomans have gone ham on Ramazan this time, so I've just cancelled the mission because there's no point. Although they're not all of them directly, but I cancelled the mission anyway just because there's no point. I don't want to be having someone who's being targeted by the Ottomans already. This is very quick. The Ottomans took a lot longer last time to come over here. They took out Albania first, so either Albania has some really good allies, or the Ottomans just have decided to change up their normal strategy. Because their normal strategy is bitch slap the Ottoman. Is normally bitch slap everyone around them. Probably a good idea to improve opinion with you and get rid of that guy. So yeah, it's definitely time for the war against Shamar. So again, we're going to pull everyone from training, and as you can see, this little bar is filling up, and every unit has a completely independent one of the other group. This one just takes the average of everything, puts all of them together, and then averages them out about the units, and then tells them how much we've got out of 100 out of the entire group. And that goes down at 0.2 every month, so they go down pretty quickly. And yeah, let's get some temples. So we've got 500 ducats, and we've got some temples, so we're going to build 3 temples, and we've got some traders, but unfortunately we can't build those just yet. But we are going to begin a war, and both their allies will join, something that I already knew. So we're going to quickly siege this place up immediately, any armies we come into contact with. And then we're going to move straight on to the next ally, and then hopefully to the last. Shouldn't be too big of an issue, but unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have to do that next part. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the first part of the Cradle of Civilization, and I'll see you guys next part. I'll see you guys then.